So this morning, Apple quietly updated their website. They added 2 new versions of the iPad Air and the iPad Mini. The iPad Mini hasn't been updated in 3.5 years. In fact, a lot of people thought that Apple was actually going to kill the iPad Mini and never bring it back. Well, the small little guy is still here. It's still 7.9 inches and it's still retailing for $399. Now, you're not gonna get a design refresh. Everything that's been changed is internally. You're getting an A12 chip, which is exactly the same chip that's in the iPhone XS. You're still getting a headphone jack. Unfortunately, it's still using a Lightning port. I would have loved to see the transition to USB Type-C, but it's not there. You're getting new storage options. They're completely killing 32 and 128 gigabytes and bringing 64 and 256. I would have loved to see the 128 gigabytes stay, but Apple knows that if they left it, no one would buy the bigger model, which means obviously less money to be made. The cool new thing though about the iPad Mini is the fact that you actually get to use the original Apple Pencil with it. So if you always wanted to draw on the smaller tablet, maybe take some notes, jot some things down, you're gonna be able to do that now. The other thing is it comes in 3 different color options: silver, space gray, and of course a gold. The next update was to the iPad Air. This also hasn't been updated in quite some time. The first thing that's being changed is actually the size of the screen. It's no longer 9.7 inches, it's being bumped up to 10.5, which will give people a little bit more screen real estate. Still below the iPad Pro at 11 inches, but still welcome addition to an iPad that's been the same size for quite some while. The other new thing is the fact that it now comes with a smart connector. So you can actually buy the Apple Smart Keyboard, connect to it, type on it like you can with the iPad Pro. It also works with the original Apple Pencil, so if you wanted bigger screen real estate, but don't want to pay the extra money for the iPad Pro, you can do that on the regular iPad Air. Just like the iPad Mini, it has the exact same storage configuration, still using a Lightning port, still comes with a headphone jack, and of course, 3 color options. Now, a bunch of you on Twitter asked me, what's the point of buying the iPad Pro when these new tablets have very similar internals and provide a similar experience? And you're right, for like 90% of the people out there, these new iPads are more than sufficient for the type of work they do. They have the new chips inside, so they're more than powerful enough to do word processing, light sketching, light drawing. You can even edit video on this without any issues. The only reason to go up to an iPad Pro is if you're doing more niche focused tasks. For example, you need more storage space. You need 1 terabyte or 512. You can't get that on the new iPads. You need a bigger screen, so maximizing screen real estate is important to you. You gotta go for the iPad Pro. And if you need more power, the A12X is more powerful than the A12, helping you push content a lot easier. This is very important if you're editing video or constantly drawing and sketching on really big files. And finally, the other comment I got on Twitter was, why did they redesign it? It's been the same design for the past few years. Well, you have to understand, if they redesign the iPad, bring in new manufacturing to create the new design, they'd have to increase prices because all of that costs money. These iPads are in such a good price point. I always tell people the regular iPad, the 9.7 inch, is one of the best bang for your buck Apple products you can buy. And with these new iPads, it puts it in line with the rest of their lineups. You want a cheap iPad, you can still buy the iPad 9.7 inch for like $250. I did a whole video about it. If you want a little bit more power, you have the iPad Mini for $399. And if you're a professional with a very niche specific task, you can go all the way up to the iPad Pro and spend over $1,000. There's an iPad for every price point. So that pretty much wraps up the new specs on these 2 new iPads. I'm gonna be reviewing it, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe so you don't miss it. I apologize for the stuffy nose. I'm getting over a cold. Cut me some slack, people. Anyways, that wraps up this video. Like it if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.